It's time for me now to call up Mr. Sanjeev Gupta, who's the MD of Albion, and he's going to talk about how to build a successful global cloud computing practice. Please put your hands together for Sanjeev Gupta.
Is the remote there? Am I audible? Am I reaching to all of you? Thank you. This is okay, this is forward, this is backward. Okay, so this is a post-lunch session, and I am sure after having the lunch, you people must be feeling a little sleepy or drowsy. So I would certainly seek your attention for next about 20-25 minutes. Dhaval has given me a topic to talk about how can partner build a successful global computing business practice. So in next 20-25 minutes, I'm going to share my experiences which I have acquired in last about 4 to 5 years while building this business. So from here I'll move to my presentation. So this is the agenda what I'm going to talk about during my next 20-25 minutes. What is cloud computing? And I'll just try to put it in a very layman language, In my opinion, the cloud computing is something like a old wine in a new bottle. Why I say so? I mean, if we look back early 80s or late 70s, we used to see like in the meteorological department or in the defense, DRDO and etc., there used to be a room. In the room, there used to be one large computer, half of the room or maybe quarter of the room. And there used to be a dumb terminals, right? So people used to access the data or feed the data or run the reports out of it. So if you look at it today, it is a 360-degree change. Probably during last 20-25 years, from early 80s till now, due to the change in the technology or in the delivery or the market drivers, the things have changed. But then, if you look at today, because of the the technology change of the internet, which has come in place, and the other thing is the virtualization. And the third thing, what I say, the market drivers, during some 2006, 2007, when the whole world was affected by a recession, the cloud computing has emerged. This is what I feel. The people have started talking to save the capital, working capital, and started stopping, the expense on setting up the new technology or buying the new technology. And therefore, the IT company, large IT company, has started thinking, what is next? What we should do so that we remain into the business and we should not lose our client and we can still, go with them. So they probably have thought to build up an infrastructure because the internet was coming. Internet was growing like anything by that time, So they have the conventional computing which was there in the early 80s. The server, they took back into the data centers. They have virtualized because the virtualization technology has matured by 2006, 2007 over the period of time. So they have virtualized the whole infrastructure and put into the data center back, and the end devices, client access devices, through the internet pipeline, they have been able to take that access the data or run the report or feed the data So therefore I said that it is the old wine in the new bottle. Now this cloud computing, they have categorized into three areas. One is infrastructure as a service. These are the three popular. There are many more, but these are the three popular categories. The infrastructure as a service, software as a service, and platform as a service. I'll move on to the next. Okay, so this slide talks about what difference cloud computing makes or cloud services makes. In my opinion, the cloud service makes a lot of difference specifically to the SME class companies, the small and medium enterprises, where the small and medium enterprises have equal challenge what the large companies have it when they do the business and when they compete with the large enterprises, yet because they have a very thin working capital line. So possibly they are not in the position to adopt those technology and run this business and compete with those kind of large companies. So cloud computing makes their job easy because the entire capital expenditure is made by the CSP, cloud service provider. And SME can leverage the technology and run their business successfully. So in my opinion, it makes a lot of sense. Okay, so next couple of slides, I'm going to talk about that what is the global trend and the market opportunity that cloud computing has it. If you look at the market size and the annual growth rate, the Gartner says the global spending on the public cloud services is expected to grow by about 18% CAGR through 2016, year-over-year. So this is the kind of growth we have in the cloud computing area. The relative market size on the cloud services, specifically the infrastructure as a service, as we all know that depending upon the different geography, each of these services are growing by its own pace, but the infrastructure as a service at this point of a time has the highest growth among all other services. It is expected to grow somewhere around 41% CAGR. And if we look at the growth rate by the delivery model, the platform as a service is going to grow by about 27% CAGR, and followed with software as a service is also going to grow 19.5% CAGR. I would just take two more minutes on this slide and try to just, say that, the infrastructure as a service, this is my own opinion, infrastructure as a service is in the coming days going to be commoditized because there is very little you can add once you have set up the infrastructure and you have delivered the IP as a BPS to the customer, and the customer either has set up his own application and run it. So in the coming days, you will see a lot of competition in this area. The profit and margin will suffer. However, the other services like platform as a service or software as a service, I truly feel that this is going to be a very good service because if you look around specifically into a software as a service, worldwide, there are so many geographies, there are so many industries, there are so many verticals, there are so many types of business. Each business is different to the other. Each industry is different to the other. And henceforth, there are applications and the solutions required for each one of them, right? So all of you or anybody who wanted to venture into this can develop its own niche and then can work on it. Similarly, on the platform as a service, you look around worldwide, you see so many developers, small company who are into the development, and they develop the application. But when they have to do a real-time testing, either they have to invest a very high level of capital to make that infrastructure, to test the application, or they can go to a cloud service provider and get the platform ready. So this is one segment which also going to grow very heavily, and the people can really add a lot of value to it, and this would be much profitable in comparison to infrastructure as a service, in my opinion. This is the segmentation of the cloud. As I said, this is the projection of this Gartner says the CRM will continue to be the largest global market within SaaS. Any company or any vertical, who is into a customer dealing, at some point or other they need CRM. They have to provide a better customer management to their customers, and henceforth this application is going to grow. Following which, you would see that office suites, the general application which you require to run your general business is going to grow heavily. It is going to grow by about 49%, following which digital content, 34% going to grow. So this is the kind of growth which is available in this particular area. This is one slide where I want to talk for about 2-3 minutes. If you look at it, this slide, there is about 250 billion investment done in North America alone, whereas the North America market on the cloud computing is growing by about 20%. Whereas, if you see on the right-hand side, there is like emerging Asia Pacific, or there is like Greater China, Latin America, mature Asia Pacific, where you see very low investment has come. Something like 5 billion in Asia Pacific, 5 billion in Greater China on the cloud computing per se. Whereas if you see the growth, it is like 25% to 32% around. So there is a huge gap, and there is a huge opportunity where the people can look at to this market, spend and invest money, and build a business all around. Purely it is, you have to emphasize that what sort of business you want to make it into this area. India, if we look at it, where we are, most of us were. India, there is a huge opportunity available in India. I would say at this point of a time, yesterday there was a panel sitting, and they were talking in India, still the cloud computing is at a very nascent stage. I would agree with them that yes, in India it is at a very nascent stage. If we see our conventional, in last 25, 23 years, the way India has transformed in the computing area, coming from the big computer and the dumb terminal, then having a DOS-based PC, then Windows-based PC, and then going into file and share networking, and then after getting into application porting, and then driving the process through the application, and then call it a real computing. The similar way the cloud computing is going to transform in India. We are at the nascent stage. Infrastructure as a service is getting very popular in India. All the servers which are available in the data center or in the local server room are going to move into the data center. The people will rent or take the servers on the rent on the virtualized environment, and then post either their application or they will subscribe the application under the SaaS platform. If we look at this, the global SaaS opportunity what we have in the current year is about $17,000 million, which is going to grow by about 17% CAGR. By about 2015, this industry alone, this business alone is going to be about $22,000 million. That's the kind of growth it has. Okay, so many a time, when I meet people, they often ask me that, Sanjeev, what is the right way of moving forward into this business? Should we become cloud service provider or should we become cloud service reseller? What is the right way of moving? My answer is always very similar to them, that look, this is going to be the problem, purely your decision. I can just try to share my experiences on how I have, or my platform has evolved and how it is moving on right now. So if we look at the cloud service provider, I would say that the setting up application on the data center and providing the services, first of all, in my opinion, not a cloud computing. When we call it cloud computing, we have to see that we do enough resource planning worldwide, or at least some multiple geography, and put the data center and do the balancing and host, virtualize the whole infrastructure in the background, and then the application, and then the database, and create the compartment of the database so that the data is not getting mixed for the customers and the customer is having that complete mind frame of security. And so that is what somewhat is cloud computing in my opinion, what I say. The second thing is that setting up the platform, in my opinion, is only the 25% work done. The 75% work is still to be done, and that involves a very high level of capital and the mind share of a promoter and your finance team. And that is what is that when you become the CSP, or when you decide to become a CSP, you have to have complete innovation team inside who can consistently work upon the innovation of the platform, point number one, then the application, then the delivery model, then the marketing, then the print marketing, then the digital marketing, and then the product management who can create the PRD and MRD and work very, very closely with the research department of yours who can consistently work upon the innovating of the new application and also keep working on your existing application, which can keep you on the higher side than your competition. You can have the upper edge over the competition, in my opinion. On the other side, if we look at the cloud service reseller, it does not have so much of risk or the working capital required, because the entire thing is done by the CSP. The cloud reseller can tie up with any CSP whom we feel like and build up a business. Your existing sales team and your existing customer base could be the first place where you can build up this business and try to get some 20-25%, depending upon the policy of CSP, some 15 to 20-25% ORC or commission or whatever you call. They generally give it to the CSP, which can directly add to your bottom line. If you are from the hardware system integration, then this seems to be a very good proposition, because this can directly add to your bottom line and your balance sheet ultimately can become a little more healthy. Some revenue also adds to the revenue side, but mostly on the bottom line it can act really very well. Okay, so this I was all talking very general, and I have a couple of slides where I am going to talk about our journey. I mean, we as a company, have started the business in about 1995, 1996 effectively. Started from the trading of hardware, then moved into the consumer business, right? Compaq used to be the company at that point of time which was coming in a very major way. Abhishek Mukherjee, I still remember, he was the managing director, and Ravi Swaminathan used to be the head of consumer business division. So together we built up the consumer business in the North India. And I recall in the year of 97, 98, 99, we used to push something about 500 to 600 Prezarios in a month. And the Compaq used to feel where these Prezarios are going, all that. So anyway, that's a different story. But then this market later on, about in 2000, has become too much of crowdy. A lot of people have come. It was a low entry barrier business where, it's all about price, how much better price you offer, and the person gets a deal. So there was hardly anything for do. And by that time, we have developed our system integration business has also come to some level. So we continued to our system integration business. But as a human, we always think about what is next. What is next which you want to do? So this was always going in our mind. While this recession was going on, and in US, this cloud computing and all that was at the, they were talking quite a lot in about 2006, 2007. So, I was also analyzing for almost about a year or a half. I kept watching so many reports, this, that, and so many things. And then finally, I have decided, I think this is one thing which is going to grow in the long run, because of a simple reason that, as I said in my first slide, that this is not a new concept, in my opinion. This is same what was there in the early 80 or late 70. Only thing is, because of the technology enhancement and the change or the market drivers have changed this. And cloud computing has invented because of that. So, in my opinion, because this allows, the fundamental requirement, this technology will allow the customer, or specifically the SME customers, small and medium enterprises, to cut down heavily on their working capital, which they require to run their business. If somebody is into a manufacturing, his working capital should go into the increasing their business if he's selling a wheel, not into setting up a IT, or not into investing into the application, SAP, CRM, database, infrastructure, not into that, in my opinion. They should focus on to their business, and we should do the work what we are supposed to do. So, it gave me a feel that this is going to stay, and this is going to flourish. So then I have decided to go into the cloud computing at that point of a time. But 5 minutes to go. I will try to finish in 5 minutes. But, as usual, there is a saying, my idea has to become our idea, and then our idea has to become their idea. Only when my idea becomes their idea, then only the idea is successful. Otherwise, it is not successful. So my idea, I have to first tell in my own organization. All departments have to be ready to go for this transformation. And especially the finance department, because they have to do a lot of hard work. Because this business is not like something that you open up a shutter today and in 45 days you start getting the revenue. It's a business which requires to build, in case if you decide to become CSP, at least 3 to 4 year gestation period. And that kind of a mindset or that kind of a working capital funding, you need to work out, or you need to have in the organization to take that strength. Then only you can get into it. Otherwise, it becomes very difficult kind of a thing. So anyway, in the organization for one and a half year, the idea kept moving. People were asking that, how we are going to do or what we are going to work. But then there was no information available. And being a system integration company, that time some 35-40 crore company, we also did not have that kind of a financial muscles to hire the best of the consultants from the world who can help us in setting up the cloud computing. So there have been a lot of pitfalls in setting it up. But then, today, after 3 years of working and developing the platform, delivery platform, the application development, database making, today, after we have finally launched the cloud computing services about one and a half year back. Today, I am very, very proud to say that we have 1 lakh customers on our platform, and they are all from the US, from the consumer side. And we have about thank you very much. And we have 255 enterprise customers. And this is also a story. You know what happens when you are all entrepreneur and you understand the pain of working capital, how to arrange and how to deploy and how to make business out of it. Whereas monthly you have so many expenditure to run, payroll, distributor payment, and if you are into a system integration business, if you do not pay at the end of 30th day, the distributor stops the button. Correct? Am I right? And when the distributor stops a button, your whole business goes for a toss for some time unless he switch on the button again. So diverting the working capital from the existing business is a very big challenge, because that business, of course, you do not want it to suffer, make it suffer, because that is your milking cow at that point of a time, right? This is your future. So there have been a lot of challenges, but then we have come to this level. Anyways, so okay, so I think I have covered these points in my discussion with you. Okay, so this is one slide on what I would like to spend some maybe 1 or 2 minutes. These are the products currently we have on our platform. These are like CRM, messaging and collaboration suite, which is something like what Microsoft has Exchange or Lotus has Notes, Lotus Notes. The cloud backup, the disaster recovery, the remote view, something like, I don't know if you have heard Log Me In, where you can from anywhere to anywhere, worldwide, you can take any device on the remote and you can work on it, and you can do a lot of session recording, this, that, so many things. You can do it. On the managed security, we have antivirus, internet security, total security, mobile security on our cloud platform. On the managed services side, we have our own tool through which we do all this managed security, managed services work like desktop services, network services, messaging, security, project management, IT help desk, and etc. Okay, so though I have touched this point, but maybe I can talk for another 1 or 2 minutes. The CSP business and the impact of cash flow on it. As I said earlier, that if you are a system integration company, then it is very difficult, because you will not be able to extract the money from your working capital, because you have to take care of that business. And for this business, because it has a long gestation period of about 3 to 5 years or 3 to 4 years, you need to invest very heavily into it. And you do not have to invest only for the development of the product, but you have to also invest in creating your delivery platform, setting up infrastructure, setting up product management team, setting up your marketing team, online marketing team, print marketing team, and the whole organization has to gear up accordingly to make it happen. Otherwise it will get stopped somewhere in between. And if it gets stopped somewhere in between, then you will suffer major losses, in my opinion. On the other side, the cloud service reseller model, there is no capital expense or investment, hardly or maybe negligible. Your existing sales team, you can add a business line. Your existing sales team can sell the application which are being made by the CSP, tie up with the CSP, or with your existing sales, customers, you can make the business and you can earn some 15-20% or 20-25% from this business and add to your balance sheet. Okay, so though the gentleman from this side has already shown me the board outside timed out, but I think I will take 2 minutes more, because I must conclude what I want to say. Where is my presentation? Okay, it's back. I have still not said thank you. You have. Okay, so business plan and strategy for cloud service provider, whoever who wish to be, is that I would reiterate again that before jumping into this, you must do a complete project management, which has a complete strategy not only of building the application, but also how to build the delivery infrastructure, how you are going to deliver the service, how you are going to reach to the customer, because reaching to the customer is the biggest pain. How you will get the first customer on your board. He has to be fully convinced that you are going to stay for a long, because if he puts his processes on your infrastructure or in your applications, his business is also on stake. So that comfort has to be given, or that comfort has to go. So you have to develop, the entire organization has to be ready to make this happen, and then only it is possible to happen, otherwise there is a challenge. Okay, some of the pitfalls, what I think is that, as I have touched earlier also, the tight project plan. Your project goes here and there, your time overrun. Your time overrun, your cost overrun. Your cost overrun, it is a fast changing technology field. So when it is a fast changing technology field, that applications or the technology what you are building, that may not be relevant when you come into the market. So that again you have to go for the innovation cycle or the change cycle, change application cycle, which will again take time, and this will never stop. You know, this will go on and go on and go on. So you have to have a very, very tight control, in my opinion. I think this is the last slide. Yes, this is the last slide. So maybe about 1 minute more. I have a very important question, because from where the money will come from? It's a big question. Okay, so I think, the cloud computing is a very good model for the private equity. They always try to see a company who is at the nascent stage, who has a project or the technology or the solution which can grow over the period of time and build up a big revenue and build up a big company, and they have a stake into it. Now the problem starts from where? Once you are able to convince this PE guy that, okay, my technology is good, my platform is going to stay, there is a market requirement, and I will grow with this space. He gets convinced. He is ready to put money in your company. Now what he is going to do is that he is going to put one consultant, and he will ask him to make the valuation of the company. What is the valuation of your company? Now because you are at the nascent stage, obviously your valuation will be very low. And because of a valuation very low, he will give just 30 more seconds. So because the valuation is very low, he will give you peanuts, and he will ask you the major stake in your company, which you may not be happy, because the kind of efforts you are going to put to build this business, and for the peanuts, you give the control to this PE guy. When the business will reach 200 crore or 50 crore or 200 crore, that time your valuation would go, even if you take a multiple of 6.5 or 7, your valuation will go to 600, 700 crore. And for the peanuts, you have given the major stakes. So there is a big challenge for you, because this question will come, and you will always feel, oh, this is a bad deal. I am not going to take the money from him. There is a big challenge. Anyway, I have just tried to share my experience on it. I am sure you people are quite learned, and you obviously know much more than what I know. So I will close already I am timed out by 5 minutes. So I will close my presentation here, and I would like to say very, very thank you to all of you for giving this patient hearing. My email ID is sanjeev.gupta@albionglobal.com. I am here till tomorrow, offsite, inside, in the hall. Somebody wanted to have some question answer, we can always talk offsite. With this, thank you. Thank you very much.